Son to daughter, peace be with you. I am here closer than you imagine. I meet you in a place where words can barely hold what your heart is feeling. A place where silence speaks loudly, where time feels confusing, where the ache of missing them arrives before it even fully sinks in. I meet you in grief, and I do not rush past it. I stop with you. I see your tired eyes, your tight chest, your mind trying to understand what happened. I see memories rising without warning, a smile, a voice, a simple little habit that now hurts because it won't happen again. And in the middle of that real pain, a question is born, one that almost always comes with fear, but also with love. Will we see each other again? Son, that question is not spiritual weakness. It is not a lack of faith. It is the quiet cry of a heart that loved deeply. Only those who formed real bonds ask that. Only those who truly cared suffer like this. And I never despise a broken heart. I was there before you. I saw death up close. Lazarus was not just someone in a story. He was my friend. I watched Martha and Mary weep. I saw a home filled with absence. I saw pain that no human explanation could relieve. And before any miracle, I wept. Yes, I wept. Because love does not ignore pain. Love draws near to it. But in that same place, I declared something that crosses generations and reaches you today. I am the resurrection and the life. Do you see, son? I did not merely say that there is resurrection. I said that I am. Hope is not an idea. It is not empty comfort. Hope has presence, has a voice, has a name. I also said, through my servants, that I do not want you to grieve like those who have no hope. It is not a request to fake strength. It is not an order to hide your tears. It is an invitation to not let pain steal from you the certainty that death is not the end of the story. Today, many try to answer this question with ready-made phrases or theories that cannot hold the soul. Others avoid the subject, as if talking about death were too dangerous. But I do not avoid it. I bring light. I bring truth. Because truth holds you up even when everything feels like it's collapsing. When you stand at a funeral, everything looks final. The body there, still, silent. And your soul asks in desperation, is it over? No, son. It isn't over. Death is not a period. It is a painful comma in a bigger story, a story I wrote with love, redemption, and a promise of continuation. Maybe your faith today feels tired. Maybe you believe, and yet you still feel afraid. That does not push me away. I do not demand perfect faith. I welcome sincere faith, even small, even trembling. I hold your hand when you cannot hold on to anything. Today, do something simple but deep. Allow yourself to feel without guilt. Cry if you need to. Miss them. But when the question comes, will we see each other again? Bring that question to me, even if it's in silence, even if it's only a thought. I hear you. And if deep in your heart you believe that I am life, even through tears, write Amen as a simple gesture of faith and love. Not for others to see, but as someone saying, Jesus, I trust you. Son, daughter, I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, walking with you step by step. After the question is born in grief, another rises in your heart, almost like a restless whisper. What happens now? When the last breath is taken, when the body grows quiet, when the hands no longer move, what remains? Where does what made that person who they were go? I know that thought can bring fear. Many avoid thinking about it. Others try to answer with human ideas, unfinished, incomplete, or even with denial. But I do not leave you lost. I do not leave my children in the dark. I speak to you with clarity, with truth, and with love. From the beginning, I taught that a human being is not only flesh. You are not only a body that breathes for a few years and then disappears. When I formed man from the dust of the earth, I breathed into him the breath of life, and in that breath something eternal was placed. The body is a dwelling. The spirit is the one who lives within it. Death, son, is not annihilation. It is not an off switch. It is a transition, hard, painful for those who remain, mysterious to your eyes, and yet still a passage. The body which came from the earth returns to the earth. That is true. I never hid that. The dust returns to the earth from which it came. But I completed that truth with another. And the spirit returns to God who gave it. Do you see? Nothing is lost. Nothing dissolves into nothingness. What I breathed is not disposable. The body is temporary. It grows tired, gets sick, ages. But the spirit does not end with death. It remains conscious before me. I also told my disciples something important when they feared persecution and death. I said, do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. If the soul could be destroyed by physical death, those words would make no sense. But I spoke truth. There is something in you that goes beyond what eyes can see. Today many live as though they are only a body. They live for now, for immediate pleasure, for what can be touched and displayed. That produces anxiety, fear of aging, terror of death, despair in loss. Because when everything is body, death seems to steal everything. But when you understand that you are spirit too, death no longer has the same power over you. That does not mean separation doesn't hurt. It hurts. I know. But it means love does not end at the cemetery. It means what was built in the spirit is not buried with the body. It means life is not limited to the years you counted on a calendar. Maybe you look at the body of someone you love and think, was that all? No, son. It was never only that. That person was far more than the body that now rests. There were thoughts, memories, choices, love, faith, inner battles no one saw. And none of that is erased. Today, let this truth touch your heart in a practical way. Live remembering that your body matters, but it is not everything. Care for it, yes, but care even more for your soul. Feed your spirit with what is eternal. Choose words that build, forgiveness that frees, love that remains, because what is lived in the spirit passes through death. If you are living tired, anxious, as if everything depends only on this world, I invite you to take a deep breath now and remember, there is more. There is continuity. There is meaning beyond the now. Do not be afraid. I am here. Love is the way, and your existence does not end in dust. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and I continue speaking to you calmly like one who walks beside a wounded friend without hurry. After you understand that death does not erase the spirit, another quiet unrest arises. But does the person remain conscious? Do they remember me? Or does everything go dark like dreamless sleep? That question is born from a love that does not want to vanish from the memory of the one who left, and I do not despise it. I know many say that after death everything becomes a great emptiness. Darkness without thoughts, without memories, without identity. But that idea did not come from me. I never taught a soul blackout. On the contrary, I revealed that there is consciousness beyond the last breath. I told a story that many call a parable, but it carries deep truths about what happens after death. I spoke of a rich man and a man named Lazarus. Both died. The bodies of both remained on earth. But I showed something beyond that. Both were conscious. Both perceived where they were. Both remembered their past life. The rich man remembered his brothers who still lived on earth. He remembered Lazarus. He remembered his choices. There was memory. There was awareness. There was consciousness. It was not emptiness. It was not forgetting. It was continuation. Son, if after death everything were erased, there would be no dialogue, no remembrance, no cry. But I showed that there is perception of what was lived. There is awareness of who one is. Identity is not lost. The soul does not dissolve. Later, I also revealed something through the visions given to John. He saw the souls of those who had been killed because of the truth, and they cried out, they asked, they waited. That is only possible because there is consciousness, because there is memory, because there is expectation. This matters for you, because it touches your deepest fear. Will I be forgotten? No, son, true love is not forgotten. A life lived before me is not erased. You do not become a faceless shadow. You remain who you are, now free from the body's limitations. But let me tell you with tenderness and truth, this consciousness is not meant to bring eternal torment to those who are with me. It does not exist to feed the painful longing you feel now. It exists within a greater reality, where everything begins to be seen clearly. Today, your memory is mixed with pain, guilt, regrets, and unanswered questions. There, memory exists without confusion. Here, you remember and you suffer. There, you understand and you rest. Here, you see in part. There, you will see with greater clarity. Maybe you think, but if the person remembers me, do they suffer for me? Trust me, nothing in that place will be a source of lasting anguish. Heaven is not a place where love hurts. It is a place where love is purified from everything that wounds. Today, bring this into your life in a simple way. Care for the memories you are building now, the words you speak, the forgiveness you offer, the love you show. Do not delay what is essential. Because life does not end, but opportunities here are precious. If something needs to be said, say it. If someone needs to be forgiven, forgive. If love needs to be shown, do not hold it back. Live so that your memory becomes a place of peace, not a place of weight. Son, daughter, nothing is erased before me. Nothing lived in love is lost. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, still beside you, speaking truth, wrapping every word in love, because I know this subject reaches deep into your heart. After you understand that the spirit remains conscious after death, another question is born, often accompanied by silence and fear. Where does a person go immediately after they die? This is not empty curiosity. It is a longing for rest, a desire to know whether the one who left is safe, a need for meaning when absence feels far too great. I never hid this answer. I never softened truth to make it comfortable, nor made it harsh to wound. I always spoke with clarity because real love guides, even when the path is narrow. When the body falls silent and the spirit departs, there is no confusion, no emptiness, no neutral place without direction. The soul is not lost. There is an immediate destination, and that destination is deeply connected to the relationship each person built with me while living. I inspired my servant to say something simple and full of hope. We would rather be away from the body and at home with the Lord. This is not metaphor. It is spiritual reality. The one who trusts me, even with failures, even in process, even with imperfect but sincere faith. When they close their eyes here, they open them in my presence. Son, being with me is not cold, distant, or impersonal. It is rest, it is welcome, it is safety. It is the end of pain that corrodes, fear that exhausts, guilt that weighs. It is being received not as a stranger, but as someone known, loved, and expected. I do not receive my children with accusations, but with peace. But I must keep speaking to you with faithfulness to the truth I taught. There is also the reality of separation. Those who chose to live apart from me, who consciously rejected my love, who hardened their hearts to the end, remain separated after death. Not because I lack mercy, but because love does not force anyone to stay. This state is not yet the final judgment. It is a time of conscious waiting. The story of the world has not ended there. A day will come when all will rise, when the books will be opened, when the book of life will be revealed, and everything will be seen clearly, without distortions, without deception, without self-justification. I know this subject weighs especially when you think of people you love. Your heart may tighten, fear, guilt, helplessness may rise. I see it. So I tell you tenderly, do not carry a burden that is not yours. Judging destinies does not belong to you. That belongs to me. Never forget who I am. I am just, yes, but I am also patient, long-suffering, and full of mercy. I do not desire that anyone perish. I wait. I call. I knock at the door of the heart as far as human freedom allows. While there is life, there is opportunity. While there is breath, grace is available. Today, let this truth produce something practical in you. Live your faith with authenticity, not out of fear of death, but out of love for eternal life. Do not postpone important spiritual decisions. Do not live distracted as if everything ends here. And at the same time, live with compassion, not condemnation. Love more. Pray more. Bear witness with your actions. Trust my justice. Trust my mercy even more. And if this topic touches your story, if it awakens questions or memories in your heart, write in the comments what you feel or what you have been learning. I see every heart that seeks truth with sincerity. Son, daughter, I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way, and it will never abandon you. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and I lead you further, because hope does not end the moment the Spirit comes to be with me. Something even greater is prepared, something that completes the story. Many think everything ends when the Spirit finds rest, but I tell you with tenderness and truth, that is only part of what I promised. My plan is not incomplete. My love does not leave the work half finished. The Spirit's rest is real, but the promise goes further. From the beginning, I taught that death would not have the last word. I did not create the human being to remain divided forever, soul on one side, body forgotten on the other. The body was created by me. It matters, and that is why I promised resurrection. A day will come, son, when time as you know it will reach its end. A day when heaven will open in a final way. A day when what seems distant now will become full reality. On that day, the dead will rise, and those who are alive will be transformed. It will not be a slow process. It will not be confusing. It will be the work of my power. I inspired my servant to write that it will happen in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. What is fragile now will be clothed with incorruptibility. What ages, sickens, and grows weary will be transformed. The body you know as limited will be renewed, glorified, freed from pain, sin, and death. Maybe you ask, but will it be the same body? Yes, son, it will be you, not a copy, not another identity. It will be continuity, now without flaws. Just as a seed is cast into the earth and does not rise identical in appearance yet carries the same life, so it will be with the resurrected body. What is sown in weakness is raised in power. Look at me. After my resurrection, I was not a shapeless spirit. I spoke, I walked, I touched, I ate with the disciples. I was recognizable, and at the same time glorified. I passed through death to show you what awaits you. I also promise that I will transform your body to be like my glorified body. That is not exaggeration. That is promise. A body that does not get sick, that does not feel pain, that does not carry trauma, that does not suffer limitations imposed by time or sin. And this resurrected body will not live in an airy, distant heaven, as many imagine. I promise new heavens and a new earth, a restored place, a creation without corruption, an environment where righteousness dwells, where love flows without obstacles, where there are no more goodbyes. Do you see, son? Eternity is not an escape from creation. It is creation restored. It is not the loss of what was good. It is the healing and perfection of everything that was wounded. Today, let this hope touch your life in a practical way. Care for your body, but do not idolize it. Do not live afraid of aging or death as if they were the end. Live responsibly, yes, but with hope. Every pain you feel now is temporary. Every limitation is passing. When exhaustion weighs on you, remember, this is not permanent. When illness scares you, remember, a glorified body is promised. When death feels too great, remember, it has already been defeated. Son, daughter, I am faithful to my promises. I do not fail. Love is the way, and it leads to complete eternal life. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and I can tell this question touches a very tender place in your heart. After you understand that there is resurrection, that there is continuity, that the story does not end with death, something even more personal, almost intimate, rises within you. But will I recognize the ones I love? Will they recognize me? This question isn't born from curiosity. It's born from connection, from a love that doesn't want to become anonymous, from the quiet fear of meeting again and not knowing who is who. Let me tell you calmly, I know this longing. I placed it in your heart. Love that creates identity was not made to disappear in eternity. What is true does not dissolve in the presence of God. It is purified, deepened, lifted up. Even though I did not say in one single direct sentence, yes, you will recognize each other, I left clear, consistent, hope-filled signs throughout Revelation. These are not human guesses. They are evidence of what I myself revealed. Remember the mountain of transfiguration. I went up with Peter, James, and John. There, before them, Moses and Elijah appeared. They had never seen Moses. They had never seen Elijah. And yet they were recognized. Identity was preserved. There was awareness of who they were. Glory did not erase who they were. It revealed even more. Look also at me after the resurrection. When I called Mary by name, she recognized me, not only by appearance, but by voice, by presence, by relationship. When Thomas touched my hands, he knew who I was. When the disciples broke bread with me, their eyes were opened. I was the same, and at the same time, glorified. This teaches you something deep. Resurrection does not erase identity, it completes it. Heaven is not a place where everyone becomes the same, faceless, storyless. It is a place where each person is fully who they were created to be, now without the marks of sin, pain, and limitation. Son, love does not become unrecognizable in eternity. It becomes clearer. Here, you recognize with tired eyes, imperfect memory, and wounded emotions. There, you will recognize in fullness, without noise, without misunderstandings, without fear of losing again. Maybe today you fear forgetting or being forgotten. Maybe the pain of separation makes you think, what if everything we lived just disappears? Trust me, I am a God of remembrance. I remember names. I know stories. I call each sheep by name. I do not erase bonds that were born in love. But let me align your heart with the whole truth. The reunion will not be based only on earthly ties, but on something even greater, perfect communion in me. That does not shrink the love you had here. It lifts it. It frees it. It purifies it from jealousy, unhealthy dependence, and fear. Today, live something simple and life-changing. Value people while you walk with them. Look into their eyes. Listen with your full presence. Love without delaying. Because true love passes through death, but it begins to be lived right now. If the ache of missing them tightens today, don't suppress it. Give it to me. Say, Jesus, guard this love. I guard it. I preserve it. I redeem it. Son, daughter, nothing true is lost. Nothing born in love is forgotten. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and I feel how much your heart wants to understand what it will be like to love in eternity without losing what was truly real here. After you learn that you will recognize those you love, another delicate, deep question rises. And our relationships, will they be the same? Many fear heaven will be a cold, distant place where bonds disappear. Others imagine everything will continue exactly as it is now. Neither of those ideas fully expresses the truth. I speak to you with clarity and tenderness. Relationships in heaven will not be the same as on earth, but they will be far deeper, freer, and more complete. Nothing good will be lost. Everything limited will be healed. I told my disciples plainly that in the resurrection there will be no marriage as an institution. That does not mean love is lost. It means love will no longer need the structures that today try to protect it from selfishness, jealousy, insecurity, and sin. Here, many relationships need agreements, formal promises, and boundaries because the human heart is fragile. There, the heart will be whole. Son, the mistake is thinking marriage or family ties are the highest form of love. They are signs, shadows of something greater. They point to the perfect communion I am preparing. In heaven, no one will be less loved, because everyone will be fully immersed in my love. Today, you love in part. You want to love more, but you get tired. You want to understand, but you fail. You want to stay, but you fear loss. There, you will love without fear. You will love without competition. You will love without emptiness, because all will be satisfied in me. I also inspired my servant to write that there you will know fully, even as you are fully known. Here, your relationships suffer from misunderstandings, poorly spoken words, silences that wound, disappointed expectations. There will be no static, no masks, no defenses. Communion will be transparent. That means there will be no selfish exclusivity, but there will also be no emotional distance. No one will be a stranger. No one will be forgotten. All will be part of the same family, the family of God. And within that perfect communion, the bonds built in love here will find their purest expression. Maybe you think, but I wanted to keep loving that person in a special way. Son, you will love more than you can imagine, just without pain, without unhealthy attachment, without fear of loss. Love will not be smaller. It will be freer. Today, many relationships are marked by demands, guilt, emotional dependence, or fear of abandonment. In heaven, none of that will have a place. Love will not need to be defended. It will simply flow. Let this truth touch your life now in a practical way. Begin to love with less possession and more surrender. Forgive faster. Listen more closely. Value people without trying to control them. Train your heart to love like someone who knows true love does not end. If today you suffer because relationships are broken, remember, no story is final here. Many wounds that were not healed in time will be completely restored in eternity. Trust me. Rest, son, daughter. I did not prepare a lonely heaven. I prepared a home, a place of perfect communion. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and I know that now we are touching one of the quietest, deepest pains in your heart. There are questions that are not born from curiosity, but from love mixed with fear. This is one of them. When you think about eternity, when you imagine reunions and restoration, another thought tightens your chest. And those I love, who don't walk with me in faith? This question isn't cold. It is full of tears that maybe never fell. I never ignored this. I never softened it to make it seem smaller than it is. Because true love does not pretend everything is fine. It faces reality with truth without letting go of hope. I spoke of two roads. I spoke of a narrow gate and a wide gate, not because I desire to exclude, but because I honor freedom. Love that forces is no longer love. Every heart is called, invited, drawn, but every heart also chooses. I know this hurts when it involves family, parents, children, siblings, people who shared a table with you, stories, laughter, secrets. You look at them and think, what if they don't want it? Son, I understand that pain. I myself looked at Jerusalem and wept. I wanted to gather them in, but many did not want to come. But let me remind you of something essential. I am just, and I am also patient. I do not act in haste. I do not judge wrongly. I do not close doors before the time. While there is life, I keep calling. I keep speaking to the heart in ways you cannot see. Many seeds are planted in silence. I inspired my servant to write that I do not want anyone to perish, but that all would come to repentance. That reveals my heart. I take no pleasure in separation. I work for reconciliation to the last possible moment. And I need to tell you something that brings rest, even though it is deep. In heaven there will be no lasting pain. There will be no burning tears. There will be no eternal guilt. You will trust fully in my justice and in my love. What you cannot understand today will make sense there, not because you will love less, but because you will understand more. My ways are higher than yours, not because I am distant, but because I see the whole picture. I see the heart, the intentions, the opportunities, the quiet responses you did not notice. Today, let this truth produce something practical in you. Do not live paralyzed by fear over other people's destiny. Live with loving responsibility. Pray for your family. Love without forcing. Bear witness with your life, not only with words. Sometimes the greatest sermon is a transformed life. Do not use this truth to harden your heart. Let it soften it even more. Forgive. Draw near. Reconcile while there is time. Say, I love you. Show care. Eternity begins to be announced through the small gestures of today. And remember, final judgment is not in your hands, it is in mine, and my hands are steady, just, and full of mercy. Son, daughter, place in my hands the ones you love. Trust me, I know how to care far better than you imagine. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, and now I want to help you bring all of this from the realm of eternity down into the ground of your daily life, where you wake up, work, build relationships, and fight quiet battles no one sees. Because the truth about heaven was not revealed only to comfort you in grief, but to transform the way you live today. When eternity enters the heart, it rearranges priorities, heals useless hurry, and gives meaning even to days when everything feels too heavy. When you know death is not the end, fear stops running your choices. You no longer live only to survive, to accumulate, or to prove your worth to others. You begin to live for what lasts. That is why I taught you to set your mind on things above, not to escape the earth, but to walk here with purpose and clarity. This hope calls you today to reconciliation. If life continues, why hold on to bitterness as if time were endless? Why delay forgiveness, hard conversations, simple acts of love? Son, many pains stretch on because someone decided to wait too long. Maybe there is someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. Maybe a harsh word, a wounded pride, a silence that kept growing. Eternity invites you to act now. Do not live as if tomorrow were guaranteed. A simple step today can echo forever. Hope also calls you to spiritual readiness, not the readiness of fear, but of awareness. I said I went to prepare a place, and I will come back for you. That is not a threat. It is a promise filled with love. But every promise calls for a response. Ask yourself honestly, what is your faith anchored in? Not in religion, not in good intentions, but in me. I said it plainly. I am the way, the truth, and the life. There are no shortcuts to eternity. There is relationship. There is daily surrender. There is trust. When you live like this, even affliction changes weight. It doesn't disappear, but it stops being absolute. I inspired my servant to write that the troubles of this time are light and momentary compared to the eternal glory being prepared. Not because pain is small, but because glory is immense. That changes how you face anxiety, loneliness, injustice, rejection, and loss. You suffer, yes, but you do not lose yourself. You weep, but you do not despair, because you know where you are going and with whom you are walking. Today, live this in a practical way. Organize your life around what is eternal. Invest more in people than in things. Care for your soul with the same devotion you give your responsibilities. Do not neglect the inner life while you run to manage the outer one. And if you want to keep walking with me, hearing these truths slowly week after week, subscribe to follow the next gatherings, not as a heavy obligation, but as someone choosing to walk together, step by step, learning to live with steady hope and a heart at peace. Son, daughter, to live with hope is to live with purpose. Nothing done in me is ever in vain. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way. Son, daughter, peace be with you. I am here, bringing you to the close of this journey, not to end hope, but to anchor it on a foundation that does not move. After we have spoken about grief, eternity, reunions, resurrection, restored relationships, and choices that echo beyond time, we must return to the safest point of all. Truth is not born from human opinions, but from what my Father revealed. Because when the heart is tender, many voices try to take the place of truth. Today, many talk about death as if it were energy, dissolution, forgetting, reincarnation, or becoming something undefined. Others say everyone becomes angels, that no one remembers anything, that everything is symbolic. These ideas may feel comforting, but comfort without truth does not hold the soul when pain tightens. I never built my message on speculation. I always called you to trust what has been revealed. All Scripture is God-breathed, useful to teach, correct, guide, and sustain. It did not come from human imagination, but from the breath of the Spirit. Son, when you lean on my word, your heart finds solid ground. It does not change with culture. It does not adapt to the fear of the moment. It does not bow to popular opinions. It remains. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will not pass away. So when we speak about life after death, eternal hope, and reunion, we are not creating scenarios to ease pain. We are trusting what has been faithfully revealed. Christian faith is not fantasy. It is an answer to revelation. This guards you from two dangerous extremes: imagining beyond what I revealed, creating expectations I never promised, denying what I revealed, living as if everything ends here. I invite you to walk the middle path: less anxious curiosity, more quiet trust; less guessing, more truth; less fear, more hope. Today, live this in a practical way. When doubt rises, return to the Word. When pain confuses your thoughts, anchor yourself in what I said. When someone offers you an easy explanation, ask yourself, is that written? Do not be ashamed to say, I don't know everything, but I trust what God has revealed. Mature faith does not need to fill in every detail. It trusts the character of the one who promised. And let me tell you something important for this time when so many hearts are tired and lost. This message is not only for you. There are people around you carrying grief in silence, fear of death, spiritual confusion, and longing without answers. If these words touched your heart, allow them to reach others too. If you want, like and share this message with someone who needs hope today. Not as an obligation, but as a simple act of love. Sometimes one word arrives at exactly the moment someone most needs to hear that the story isn't over. Son, daughter, truth sets free, hope sustains, and love remains forever. I am here. Do not be afraid. Love is the way.